Welcome to this video entitled Stem Cell-Based Therapy and COVID-19. Since the case report and the case series involving 7 patients from China where doctors used mesenchymal stem cells to treat COVID-19 pneumonia with positive results, many stem cell researchers all over the world are embarking on clinical trials of mesenchymal stem cells. This is an article out of China, which you can find online. It's entitled, Transplantation of ACE2 Mesenchymal Stem Cells Improves the Outcome of Patients with COVID-19 Pneumonia. And just zooming into the abstract of the article, it reads, mesenchymal stem cells have been shown to possess a comprehensive, powerful immunomodulatory function. The study aims to investigate whether mesenchymal stem cell transplantation improves the outcome of 7 enrolled patients with COVID-19 pneumonia. And the clinical outcomes, as well as changes of inflammatory and immune function levels and adverse effects of the 7 enrolled patients, were assessed for 14 days after stem cell injection. And in red is their conclusion. Mesenchymal stem cells could cure or significantly improve the functional outcomes of 7 patients without observed adverse effects. And thereby, it's not surprising, scientists around the world have embarked on clinical trials of mesenchymal stem cells on acute lung injury and acute respiratory distress related to COVID-19 pneumonia. There have been many review articles like stem cell therapy as a possible therapeutic option in treating COVID-19 patients, and you can find plenty of these review articles. What normally happens to our immune system when we get a coronavirus infection? Well, you get macrophage activation as depicted in the diagram in response to viral infection. It stimulates T helper cells, which will stimulate your CD8 natural killer cells to directly kill virus-infected cells. The T helper cells will produce inflammatory cytokines to activate CD4, B cells, plasma cells to mount an antibody response, also called the adaptive immune system. And generally pretty mild fever, lethargy, maybe a cough, but generally you're fine, you won't die. But in some patients, you get a cytokine storm, basically a severe immune response, a lot of fluid and exudate build up in your lung tissue, as shown in this red diagram. The yellow exudate accumulates in your lung alveoli, and thereby you cannot breathe. Because why? Oxygen cannot diffuse through the lung alveoli to the blood, and thereby you drown or suffocate in your own lung, leading to acute respiratory distress and acute lung injury. You will see in the lung, you have diffuse alveolar damage due to the viral infection and immunological injury, as well as multi-organ dysfunction, extensive microthrombus or clot formation, and death. Obviously, you'll be hypoxic. That's why initial stage of the pandemic, there was shortage of ventilators. But subsequently, they also found you have extensive microthrombus or clot formation in the lung vasculature, and thereby some scientists are saying that no, you don't intubate and ventilate, but you use thrombolytics. Obviously, there's more being discovered on COVID-19 pneumonia-related acute respiratory distress and acute lung injury. And there are articles documenting post-acute respiratory distress lung fibrosis with residual lung damage and reduced aerobic capacity. And some even go on to say with repeated infections, you get more fibrosis. So with multiple ARDS, COVID-related ARDS, you get more and more residual lung damage. Thereby, it's not good to have a repeated lung infection with COVID-19 ARDS. Mesenchymal cell therapy has been shown to alleviate pneumonia and symptoms of acute respiratory distress. Results from clinical trials are encouraging as patients treated with mesenchymal stem cells regain lung functions and have restored levels of cytokine and trophic factors, underscoring the fact that cell therapy can be at least a complementary therapy to alleviate sufferings in COVID-19 patients. So in this diagram, you see the SARS-CoV-2 virus is encoded in the glycoprotein with S-spike proteins. The S-spike protein latch themselves to the ACE2 receptors in the pneumocytes, and it leads to a massive inflammation, which can lead to ARDS, but the mesenchymal stem cells has anti-inflammatory cytokines, is able to down-regulate the inflammation because of its immunomodulatory properties. Mesenchymal stem cells help ARDS by immunomodulation. The mesenchymal stem cells contain trophic factors to heal the damaged lung and can differentiate into cells needed for lung repair. So they have cells that can repair lung tissue damage cells, as well as trophic factors like vascular endothelial growth factors. But it's not within the scope of this video to discuss the complex immunological pathway with regards to mesenchymal stem cells and COVID-19 pneumonia and ARDS, as this video is for laymen and not for world-class scientists. What are mesenchymal stem cells? They are also called stromal stem cells, and they can differentiate into many different types of cells within the body, including bone cells, cartilage, muscle cells, neural cells, skin cells, and corneal cells. They can be isolated from adult sources like the bone marrow, peripheral blood, fat or adipose tissue, from neonatal source, which are rich in fetal stem cells like placenta, umbilical cord blood, Wharton's jelly, or amniotic fluid. This is my last slide. I'd just like to share some recent news. FDA approves study to investigate the use of cell therapy to treat COVID-19 related multisystem inflammatory syndrome in children. So there are lots of research being done, and more needs to be done to further affirm and validate the use of mesenchymal stem cells in COVID-related pneumonia and acute respiratory distress syndrome. So thank you for listening. There'll be more and more videos on stem cells, so do click on the subscribe button if you find my videos useful.